Marcus, why don't you tell people who you are, tell people a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of take it from there.
Cool. Yeah, my name's Marcus Caston. I'm from Salt Lake City, Utah, and I'm 33 years old. My favorite color is white, but not because of the snow at all. It kind of just, I like the sound of it. Um, and yeah, I grew up ski racing here at Snowbird and transitioned to I don't know, professional skiing or whatever you want to call it, taking lots of photos and now lots of videos. And here we are. I don't know. you know, the journey has been, I haven't, it's not gone the way I thought it was, but, I don't know what I thought it'd be, but, it's going and I'm just rolling with it. And here we are.
What were you hoping? Like, I know you just said you don't know, but like, what was the goal? Like, when you were like looking at a career, what were you thinking your ski career was going to be, or did you not even think you were going to be in a career in the
No,
ski
I don't
industry?
know if I even thought it through that far. So I mean, when I was ski racing and we go through every year, okay, what are your goals for, this year and the next 5 years? And it's like, I was just never good at it. I always thought it was stupid. and, I was just like, you can just do your best and kind of roll with the punches. So,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people, well, I guess I can't speak for other people, but this being a professional skier isn't necessarily exactly what I thought it would be. I thought it'd be a lot more skiing, but it turns out there's not just like random professional photogs like hanging out in the woods, just like snapping photos of you as a ski by. You got to like set that up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
The legwork is
you know,
significantly more than maybe imagined.
yeah.
Yeah. What is it? I mean, I guess that begs the question, are you happy with what you have for a ski career? Like, I mean, you're killing it. I fucking see you everywhere, I feel like every corner, and literally it's taken a month to get you dialed in on getting this show. Like, people want your attention, Marcus. So like, how do you feel it's going?
Again, I apologize for that.
I'm not
It's
giving you
been
shit, I promise. I don't care. Like, it's fine. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's been one thing after another. I was in Switzerland, I think, when we first started talking, and then I came back. I've had 2 day, like max, I don't know, 4 days in total in home in the last
Jesus
month and a
Christ.
half. It's been nuts. But it's a good thing. It's gotten harder. I Yeah, it's gotten harder as I guess I get older. Like when I was in my 20s, it was just sweet to live on the road all the time. And I'm still pretty good at it, living out of a suitcase, but now I enjoy being home for sure. So that's been a little bit harder, um, that part of it. But yeah, I think, yeah, I don't know. It's going well. I'm happy, I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't know if it's turned out the way that I've like, I don't know what I thought it'd be, man. I really don't.
What could be? I mean, what could be better? Like, I guess that's the question, right? What if you had a list of things that you currently could go and change about?
Climate change was less of a thing like 20 years ago, right?
Right.
Like, when I grew up watching movies, it seemed like everybody was just flying helicopters for months,
Right.
and that would be sick.
Yeah.
um, I heard stories of guys 20, 30 years ago making like 100 G's from poles and gloves.
What?
Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, that would be sick.
Oh, you mean you're not making 200 grand in a pole and glove sponsor?
I do pretty, Lakey has been one of my oldest sponsors and I love them, but yeah, I'm not making 200 G's. But yeah, it's, I think if I could, I've never gone to Haynes. That's a place that I've always dreamt of going. Um, I guess I still have goals, and until I accomplish them, like, it hasn't got, I don't know. It's going, I still have goals, so I gotta, finish it up here.
Yeah. Do
Right.
you? Do you see like a trajectory to accomplishing those goals? Like, I guess it's like we could say all these things, but
Oh
what is the
man,
plan for that kind of thing?
is my mom feeding you these questions right now?
Yes, yes. I want to know, Marcus, what is the plan? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna get a real job, Marcus?
No, that's really the goal,
Yeah,
is to not have a real job.
yeah,
I yeah, that would be tough. Um, yeah, I think like I said, I grew up ski racing, and so my experience in the backcountry has been pretty limited to the last really 10 years. And the first bit of that was like pretty slow. It takes time to learn, and I feel like I'm pretty conservative, and so I just want to learn the right way.
yeah,
You can get out there and just like get sendy, but then you're really pushing your luck, I think. So
yeah,
just taking it slow and learning, learning things every day you go out. And yeah, I'd like to get into bigger mountains, more complex terrain, like learn how to move efficiently, and all that stuff's really interesting to me right now.
yeah,
Um, I've skied a lot of resort in my life, a lot of groomers, a lot of moguls, a lot of hard pack,
yep,
and a lot of powder too. So to me right now, what really interests me in skiing is just kind of moving around in the mountains, being safe and efficient.
right. That's a good goal. That's great. That's amazing. Um, one of the things I kind of wanted to ask you about, because I know how busy you are and because I know how many people are asking for your attention, is do you get burnt out? Like, do you feel burnt out? Is that a thing that you struggle with? And if it is, how do you find yourself fighting that?
I don't know if burnt out is the right word, but exhausted. Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I just, like I said, I was in Engelberg, and then I went straight from there to Jackson, and then straight from to the San Juans, and then just straight from there to just filmed a week with Warren Miller. I've had two nights in my own bed. I'm going to Alaska tomorrow. So it's just kind of like, and it doesn't stop there either. So it's like home, laundry. The bag just stays right there. It's that into the washer, back into the suitcase, and yeah, this time of year, that's getting tiring for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, fighting it, like like I said, I enjoy traveling. I enjoy working with the people that I am fortunate enough to work with, and I like doing what we do. So I like making ski movies and ski photos, and that's still inspiring to me. And one thing I think that I can fall back on, is that I feel like I have something to say about skiing and in my skiing. It's not, sometimes it's more direct, like return to the turn, but it's like I feel like that's just there in my skiing, and so that is inspiring to me, and that keeps me going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy to me how much of an impact you've made on the whole sport. I mean, with Return of the Turn, I actually almost promised myself I wasn't going to talk about Return of the Turn because like I feel like that's probably all anybody wants to talk to you about. But I will talk about it because it made such a big impact on everybody. It's like every person has a photo of them trenching a turn and trying to drop their hip as low as they possibly can, and I think that's largely because of you. And I think people just are looking at it in a different way now, right? Because you put that out there and it hit immediately. And it's not something that if you had asked me, okay, pick 5 ski things, like ski videos that are going to hit this year, that wouldn't have been one of them. Like, honestly, but
yeah, well, I certainly wasn't the first person to do that, but I think just coming in and being like, yo, this is cool. And people do this, and they, that's why it was a hit, I think, because people enjoy everyday skiing and trying to get big angles and energy out of their skis. It's not just me,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
coming in, and I just, in ski media that wasn't being talked about. So like I'm far from the, sorry, I don't know if you heard that.
That's okay. It's okay.
Getting,
It's
yeah,
somebody else asking me to be on a podcast.
my dad. Um, so I'm far from the first person to like ski that way, just coming in and saying, hey, this is cool. And I think it's cool, and other people think it's cool too. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and it is cool. And I think you're not the first person to do it, but I think you're the first person that's figured out a way, and the crew that you filmed with too, it made it look like this is a good time. Like we don't all need to be just like smashing pillow lines. We can take it a different direction and still make it fun, viable, and promotional. Like it's everything kind of all mixed into one. And it's really, it shows your skill set, right? It shows the ski racing background, it shows the style, but it also puts it out there in a way that's fun for people to actually engage with. Like I can't tell you how many times like I work in a ski shop and work in a ski shop forever. It's like now that year, everybody was walking in the door looking for something that they could trench on. And
cool.
That makes a difference for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. One of the other things that I kind of wanted to talk about too is your relationship with Blizzard. I had talked to Justin Haynow a little earlier today, and he was kind of talking about when you go and you talk to the engineers, the brand reps at Blizzard, you're one of the few athletes that he's ever seen that can have a conversation with them on the technical side and speak the same language as them. So where does that interest come from, and how do you have that like high level technical conversation with people that are making and designing skis?
I think that's just it's been learned over time. I've been with Blizzard since the beginning of my big mountain career or whatever. And it's been, I think, over 10 years, 10 or 11 years now. And they've been just really good with involving me and other athletes in those conversations. And, you could talk to Haynow and he could tell you, I'm sure the feedback I was giving 10 years ago was not good. And I can admit that. 10 years ago, I was like, yeah, I want a 201 bonafide with a metal plate, and they were like, shut up.
Nobody's skiing that, yeah.
And, so I've just learned, I think, over time, like, it's been really interesting, what you feel, what you think you feel and what you feel are usually opposite.
Okay.
So you think something's stiff, it's usually soft. You think so, it's like, so just going out on skis, feeling something, giving feedback, and then getting, I guess what's been cool is Blizzard has been able to give me feedback on my feedback, right? So you're like, okay, so, I feel this. And they're like, okay, but you're actually like, this is what's actually happening inside the skis.
Right.
And to make you feel that way. And so it just, over time, and being able to work pretty closely with them has been really cool. And I don't know where the interest comes from. Like, I've skied my whole life, and that's just, skis are interesting to me. It's like I spend a lot of time on them. So
yeah,
it's, I don't see how you could not be interested if you're a skier as to like what's under your feet.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I think there's a couple different schools, right? There's the school that's like, I just want to go ski whatever's going to get me down the hill, and I can ski as hard as I want to ski, and I don't want to think about the gear. Like you hear it all the time, especially in the ski shop. It's like, I don't give a fuck what it looks like. I don't give a fuck what it does. I want something that I know I'm not going to break, and I can ski as fast as I can. Right? That happens. And then there's also the person that like is completely nerding out on every single aspect, talking about turn radiuses and what kind of base they use and what kind of edge material there is and all this kind of shit. And it's always interesting to me because I feel like pretty seldom the person that's most interested in the technical aspect is not necessarily the best skier. So I find it interesting that you're that interested in that process and that good of a skier, because that side doesn't happen that much unless you're working directly with brands. brands? And obviously there's a big generalization there.
I mean, I'd hate to say it, but I think I, like I said, I've been like pretty heavily involved for 10 years and I'm learning a lot. I don't really believe that like a person that's not involved with the testing and building of skis, even if they think they're thinking about skis in a certain way, is like correct in the way they're thinking about it. It's fun to geek out on skis, I get that, but I mean, it's really complicated, and there's a lot more to it than just flex, side cut, width, mounting points. Like, there's a whole lot more to it than just that.
Yeah.
And that stuff matters, and that's fun to geek out on and change your mounting points and this and that. But, and I guess, everyone has their own style and feels like they might have something that works best for them. And I mean, good on them for geeking out, but I mean, chances are they just, I don't know how much of a difference like moving a mounting point 2 inches on something that's like really gonna, or 2 centimeters is like really gonna do for someone.
Yeah. No, and
unless they're like really in tune with their equipment
and their body, right? Like their body positioning, like they know what they do. And I think a lot of times that comes from ski racing, right? Like, I mean, that's just like, what you got to do, the feeling that you have to have. And because you're on a smaller ski, your reactions and your body movements matter more.
And it becomes more important as the snow gets harder.
Right.
Like in powder, anything. I mean, you could ski a 2x4 and you'd have a great time.
Yeah. So obviously you like ski racing. You've come from ski racing. I don't, and I tend to think that ski racing is dying. However, I have had multiple ski racers on over the last few weeks and over the course of the last 4 years, and my opinion kind of wavers all the time. It's like I think ski racing and competition is so important, but I kind of wanted to get your take on the current scene in ski racing and what you're seeing kind of from the outside looking in. And if it's a viable market for ski brands to be in, right? Because it costs so much money for that product to be made, for that product to be developed, for everybody to be promoted. Is it viable going forward in an industry that kind of seems like it's always, struggling to make the money it needs to make, and it's such a short season and all the factors that go into skiing?
There's a lot to that, I think.
For sure.
I think growing up ski racing, I would tell anybody if they want to be a better skier, no matter what age or level they're at, they should go to a ski racing camp or, if you're a kid, get into a ski racing program. If that's how you want to, if you want to become the best skier you can, that's, I think, the way to do it. Or a mogul program, for instance. I don't think the big mountain programs are necessarily there yet.
I would agree with that, yeah.
But yeah, if you want to be a big mountain skier, the best thing you can do for your skiing is get in a ski racing program, or if you're an adult, do a master's weekend thing or whatever it is, beer league race or, something at night. Like that's the best way you can be a skier. So, as far as if it's good, I think it's getting smaller. It's expensive. It's elitist, and that's sad. It prices people out, and here in the States, it's hard to watch World Cup ski racing.
Yeah.
And they're not, ski racing isn't like, it's not like 30 years ago where the best skis were slalom skis or GS skis,
Right.
And that's what there's, so I don't know. I really don't know what the future of ski racing is, but I enjoy watching it,
Yeah.
and I think it's the best way to become a good skier.
Yeah. It's funny
Um,
because I agree with every point that you just made. It's just that I think that elitist aspect of it, the cost aspect of it, and the fact that there are good skis now. Like, I mean, look at Blizzard, for example, right? Like, you can rail on a Brahma, right? Like, you can take that ski
mhm.
and ski it basically anywhere. Is somebody going to develop the technical skills to ski that ski well and to get that point without ski racing? I think that curve just kind of gets elongated versus, your skills built in ski racing, you have them as a foundation. All the best skiers that I know and that I ski with all grew up in ski racing programs, right? So I think there's in that sense it's extremely valuable.
Yeah, and I mean, Blizzard was in ski racing for a long, long time. That's where their heritage is, and um, yeah, pretty much all the reps and everyone that works for the company is came from ski racing, and it's in their DNA. So even though they're not making race skis here in the U.S., it's still part of the DNA of the company. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of a
so
weird it was kind of a weird thing for me when they were like, okay, like race skis we're not really gonna bring race skis into the US anymore. Especially because like so many of these people, like you just mentioned, in Blizzard ski race or ski raced at some point and have that ski racing style. Like even I don't know, I skied with Christian Avery a few weeks ago. And like that dude rips and you can see the style that he has and the technique that he has, and it's just like, okay, like there's a lot of validity in the way that it kind of builds you up as a skier over time, because you talk to that guy, you have a conversation with him, and it's like, all right, he's kind of mellow, he's not really the most outgoing person in the entire world.
right. So to your point, like there's a reason why these skis rip like a bona fide, or
Right.
coach. There's, it's like I said, it's still in the DNA, So
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, yeah, it's important. And the skis, they have that feel to them, and I think that's kind of an important thing to note too, is like they're burly, aggressive ski, with the exception of like obviously even Rustler. I mean, Rustler is like the one everybody kind of picks on as the soft ski, but it's still got metal in it and it still rips. Like it's still, you can do whatever the fuck you want on skis like that.
yeah. I mean, that's the cool thing about the Rustler is it's just because it's I forget exactly what they say, but it's like there's some quirky little fun little saying, but it works for everyone, no matter it works for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you can still rip on it, but it will also work for someone who doesn't have a race background and wants a ski that's a little more playful.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, you can go out and just totally rip on it. So, I mean, that's the cool part, about the technology and things like new technology and things happening in new skis right now. It used to be like, okay, this is a burly ski. It's not gonna. There's still a lot of skis like that. You see people just getting like totally worked by their skis. And you're like, so I think that's really cool that Blizzard's been able to come up with something like the Rustler that works for just a huge range of abilities.
Do you think so? I think so often we push in skiing and in the ski industry those super high end skis, like those skis that are the top performance skis in the magazine reviews and online and all that good stuff. I feel like that category where most skiers are, like that intermediate category, kind of gets forgotten about often. Um, I always wonder why does that not get pushed more, like to the masses? And maybe you're not the person to answer that question, but it's it's just so strange to me that we're pushing for years now. It's been, I don't know how long Bonafide's been out, but Bonafides are getting pushed to so many people. And like as a ski shop owner, it's like you go in, people walk in the door and they pick up a Bonafide, they buy a Bonafide because their buddy told them a Bonafide was good, because Ski Mag told them a Bonafide was good, or Free Ski or whatever. And it is a
And
good ski.
and it is.
It's a ripping good ski, but it might be totally the wrong ski for that person. If that person's on day 5 of their ski career and they're just buying this ski because a magazine, like it happens so much where people just walk in and they buy the ski that's advertised to them,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can speak to that so much, but I think yeah, I think Blizzard has figured it out really well. That how to make a ski that works for
For a lot
a
of people.
wide range of skiers. And yeah, if someone's day 5, they probably don't need a Bonafide, but you could probably get away with a Brahma.
Right.
So
Yeah, for sure.
it's not totally my world of expertise.
No, for sure. And I just like, I always end up thinking about it every time we bring up like all these skis, and I think they're great, but a lot of the listener base and a lot of skiers in general are just kind of like, they're going out there 2 days a year. They're not out there skiing in 40 different locations throughout the season. They're kind of just like, they pick their spots and that's where they go.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of shifting gears here. I was reading your Blizzard bio, and you talk a little bit about, the question was, how do you conquer difficult situations? And your answer was really interesting to me. And your answer was, the hardest situation for me is to back out of something that you want to do, and being honest with yourself. So can you elaborate on that a little bit? And what does that mean? How do you make that decision for yourself? Because I think a lot of us have been in situations where you really want to do something and it's just not right. It's not at the right time. Conditions may not be right, especially if we're talking about in the backcountry. How do you actually make that conscious decision for yourself?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Early on in my professional career, I went to Iceland. This is probably 8 years ago or something. And there we went up this couloir, and it was getting really hot, and there was kind of a cornice above us, and it was me and a photographer, and then we were hanging out with just a local person there, and it was getting warm, and we were like debating what do we do. And I was like, man, I spent like all this money to be here, spent all this time, like I want to go get the shot and I want to go ski that, and she was just kind of like, yeah, I'm out. Like had no, and I was like, wow, well, that's really smart. And after we talked about it, I was like, okay, well, you kind of need to separate those things as to like, what is it that you really want to do? And what is it that you like can do, for the moment and conditions.
Yeah.
If the conditions don't allow it, they just don't allow it. And right now, like I'm going up to Alaska tomorrow. The avalanche conditions are not 100% what we'd like them to be. And so, we have to switch gears from like, okay, I want to go ski this. What I want to do is go ski the steepest mountains I can possibly find, but what we're going to end up doing is trying to create something more, I don't know, more beautiful and, maybe just more abstract and, less about like just steep skiing. Yeah. So you just need to like change your mindset a little bit, because it's not, you can't, I don't want to get hurt,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. And then as far as like my own ability goes, I kind of think about it like, okay, can I ski this line 10 times? If I ski it 10 times, can I ski it 10 times clean,
Yeah.
Or am I like putting myself out there? And if there's real consequence and real risk to it, like I want to know I can do this 10 out of 10 times.
Right.
It's easy enough to get hurt doing something stupid on skis, wherever. Like luck is part of it. And if there's like real consequence, I want to make sure I have it. So that kind of keeps me reeled in, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting thing. And I think it's really good that lately the conversation, especially in the backcountry, has kind of shifted to like avalanche safety and avalanche awareness and having that backbone before you just go out and send stuff, especially because, as we all know, resorts are getting busier and things are starting to ramp up and there's more skier involvement. So obviously there's more skiers in the backcountry than ever before. So I think smart decision making and hearing stuff like that, especially from someone like you, is probably really important for people.
And like I said, my backcountry experience is 10 years, and I have 20 other, 20 plus years of skiing in the resort. So
Right.
like my ski ability far outweighs my ability to make a good decision in the backcountry, I think. So I keep that in mind and back off of things too.
Yeah.
I want to be 100%, and like I want to do this a long time. So I want to be as sure about it as I possibly can. I don't want to just kind of leave it up to fate.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's incredibly important.
Or
And
luck.
yeah, luck is like, that's the factor that you want to limit, I think, as much as possible in these situations.
Yeah, I mean, I ski a lot. If I'm rolling the dice, it's gonna come back to bite me eventually. So
Well,
I know it, and I want to keep it reeled in. I've been hurt enough to know it sucks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't want to be hurt. So
Yeah, for sure. What are your kind of plans for the rest of the season? What do you have lined up? I know you said you're going to Alaska, and it's funny actually. Are you going to McKenna Peterson too?
no,
Because she's going to McKenna. Well, she's going to McKenna. She's going to Alaska tomorrow as well, and
Okay.
she was going to be sitting in this seat at this time, and that's why I emailed you, and I was like, "There's an opening," so I wondered if there was a correlation there, but I guess not.
No, fun. No, we're. I'm actually going up there with this kid River Radamus.
Oh yeah.
Who he was fourth in the Olympic GS this year. He's a sick skier, but never been up there, and ski racer. So it'll be interesting to see, how he does out there. But I'm just excited to watch him ski. I mean, I'm a huge fan. So
yeah, that kid rips.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He's got the big angles, So that'd be really cool. So yeah, I'm going to Alaska. This will be a return to the turn. Come back to Utah, do another return to the turn around here, and then a couple other little projects. I go out to Colorado, and then I'm going to Iceland.
Nice.
To cap it all off here for 2.5 weeks. So. And that's kind of my last hurrah.
You need a nap, dude. I feel like that. I can't even imagine. I travel for a week and I'm like, I'm fucking good for a minute. I don't need to do this anymore. Like,
yeah.
And then you're back on the road 2 weeks later or whatever, and you're still like, all right, this is fun, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I'll get a nap in here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Airplanes are good for that. Do you have a preference, film over photo? Like, is there one that holds more value to you as the athlete? Because you're doing a lot of both. What's more satisfying for you, I guess?
I spent the majority of my career taking photos. That's just kind of how I started off. And to me, I think I enjoy that more.
Okay.
I don't want to say it's harder. The film thing, there's just a lot more to it.
Right.
And you can, there's a lot more to it. And it's hard. It's really hard. But yeah, there's something about like when everything comes together for one moment in a photo. Right. That's really cool to me.
Are there specific photographers that when you're like, okay, I get to work with this person, that you get overly excited about? Like, is there someone in particular that you enjoy working with?
Yeah, I work with photographer Ken McLeod.
Okay.
He lives up in Ogden, about an hour north, and we do a lot together. I think he's super creative, and he's really great to just be like out in the mountains with, and he's really good. So I really enjoy working with him. And then every year I go to Engelberg and work with Oscar Enander.
Yeah.
And that's really cool too.
Yeah. It's funny. I had no idea who Oscar was until I interviewed another photographer and athlete at the beginning of the season. And then like now I'm like, all I do is like look at his feed the whole time and just look at how he plays with light and how beautiful that shit is.
Yeah, it's cool. But that's kind of the neat thing about working with different photographers is you create you have a relationship. They know how you ski, you know how they shoot, and you can kind of work together. And like in Engelberg, I ski a lot with this kid, Johan Jönsson, Swedish kid, also on Blizzard. And we have two totally different ski styles. And we'll be looking at something and, Oscar will know, okay, this is good for Johan, or this is good for Marcus, or, kind of put us in those situations. And the same thing, we'll be up top, like I'll pick something and Johan will pick something totally different, So it's not just the photographer, it's really like the team.
Yeah.
And that's cool. So, I mean, it's obviously fun to be in the photo when you open the magazine and look at it, but it's also really cool to, I open them up and there's Johan, or I work a lot, Chad Sayers, or
yeah,
Connery.
Yeah.
So that's really cool too. It's a team effort. So, yeah. And video, like I said, video is cool, but there's just something about that, like one moment to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. So I also have a question I have a couple more questions and I'll let you get out of here, but I'm always curious. Warren Miller has kind of had the same formula for years and years and years, and you can never knock it because it works, right? Like it works really, really well. You're starting to see more and more film companies and athletes start to put out more of their content on YouTube, on social, or they'll do like a 50-50 mix of putting out part of their content online, and then they'll do a tour where they just like want to have the live event, but it is available for free or on YouTube or whatever. Do you think there's value in that model too, or do you think like it's if it's not broken, don't fix it kind of situation?
Do I think there's value in which model? Yes, I guess yes.
Either way,
like, yeah, I think there's value in both. I think putting together a film and going to the movie and having a tour, is really cool. Like watching something on YouTube is not the same as watching it on the big screen. It's just not.
Yeah.
Same as like seeing a photo on Instagram. It's just not the same as opening up a magazine and seeing a 2-page spread.
Yeah.
So, a full-length film and a tour is like, it's a lot more difficult to pull off. And then beyond that, like you get to share in that experience when you go to a movie with 1,000 other people, and you sit in the theater and, and then the ski brands are there and athletes are there. And, I think that's really important.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just me being old. I don't know. I'd be interested to
You're not that old.
Well, I'd be interested to ask a kid, like that same question. But to me, like the answer is like, I used to go to Warren Miller movies growing up.
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, this is the shit. That's what I want to do. It wasn't on YouTube,
Right.
I wasn't sitting in front of a computer going, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
There's just, I don't know. And I think you can, with the internet, and you can just pump out tons of content that's maybe just not, A-level stuff.
Yeah.
And so it waters it down a little bit. And I mean, there's still amazing stuff, on the internet, but you gotta kind of weed through it a little bit.
You gotta find that shit for sure.
But if you go to a Warren Miller or a TGR or Matchstick movie, like what you're getting, then it's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely, there's something to be said for the production quality that is put out by those companies. And I guess I think I've been thinking about this a lot this year because Level 1 stopped doing annual stopped doing traditional annual films, and they're putting out pieces that they're just basically releasing online, like Jake Magoo's film, Parker White, all of these things that are like they're 20 to 35 minutes, but it's like highlighted pieces basically, and same production qualities, I guess, and taking the same amount of time. So I guess I'm not necessarily asking about like edits or short videos and that in comparison to Warren Miller. I guess when you see one company go and do this thing and put it out there and see the kind of reaction that it gets, I just wonder where that leaves everybody else. Not that, and again, I think that there's value in both. Like I think we're on the same page here. I still go and see a Warren Miller movie because I like the camaraderie of it. I still will go see a film tour because I like going to a film tour. I just wonder, like, if it makes the younger generation feel a deeper sense of connection if they can just put it on and go, like, that's my shit, and then watch it 40 times on their TV at home on YouTube or whatever,
Yeah, I don't know. To me, going out to the movie,
That's
the coolest. That's my jam.
Yeah.
And you get together with your buddies and you talk about it after, and it's more meaningful and impactful than watching something on YouTube and shooting a text like, "Yo, did you see this?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
There's more longevity to it for sure.
I don't know. I don't know what I would assume it's the more cost effective to put it on YouTube.
I would think so
than
too.
Do a full film tour, but I hope that the film tours don't go away. And same thing with magazines. I imagine it's just a lot easier to not print and just go digital, but it's just not the same.
No, in no way. I think magazines done well should exist still. I think it's just hard to balance. I've had this conversation kind of a lot lately, and I think the reason is there's a big distinction between running a magazine and running a magazine well. And I think there's just so many ads in a lot of the magazines that were so popular as I was growing up. You're talking like 50% ads in some of these things, and that's great. And if that's what needs to happen, fine. But it definitely devalues some of the content that's in those magazines because it almost becomes a book of ads with some content,
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's kind of my worry. And there's definitely magazines like, I think the Ski Journal does a great job. I think Adventure Journal does a great job. Mountain Gazette does a great job. And even Ski, to a certain extent, I think does a good job at promoting people, and they're getting better at it. But there's just so much focus on getting those spreads in there, like those ad spreads in there, that sometimes I don't know. I guess it's just it's kind of a changing of the tide in a way. And I'm not necessarily, my generation is kind of somewhere in between yours and the younger generation, where the younger generation's like, I want to watch TikToks. And the older generation tends to be like, look, we want magazines and we want film tours to stay around forever. I find value in both. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of a weird time, especially for the industry as a whole.
I agree with that. It's certainly a weird time. Yeah, I mean, the ads, I guess, don't necessarily bother me as much, like, especially if it's a ad done well.
Right.
With a good photo, like.
Yeah, I mean, if it's an ad of you, I'm not shitting on it. Like if it's an athlete ad, fine. I just mean, like, I don't need a full page spread to know about Yeti coolers, Like, I already fucking know what a Yeti cooler is. And that's my point, I guess. Anyway, the last thing I want to ask you about is something that has been that people have been arguing about with me and with friends of mine and on the internet and all over the place for a while.
All right.
Where is you live in one of these destinations? Where is the best place to go skiing? My argument has been Salt Lake for a while now, and everybody gets mad at me because they're like, no more people should fucking come to Salt Lake. Everybody should stay where they are, and no more people should go. But it's got everything. It's got the mountains. It's easy access. The airport is like, it's in town. Everything is like, you're 30 minutes from skiing snowboard to getting on an airplane. It's like that. You don't really get that very many other places. Or is it a Tahoe, or is it a Colorado? And I don't know, I assume your answer is Salt Lake, but what kind of sets them apart?
Well, it depends what you're looking for, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, each place is different, and yeah, I mean, I live in Salt Lake for a reason, and I am who I am because I live in Salt Lake and grew up in Salt Lake. You know, um, that said, like I don't just stay here. I
Right.
spend the majority of my time traveling. You know, like every place has its own thing going on, and man, I love skiing in Tahoe. Um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great skiing everywhere.
This is a very diplomatic answer.
Oh wow, it's hailing out now. Um, hard. Thank goodness. Um,
Why thank goodness? Why do you want hail?
huh?
Why do you want hail?
Well, I don't know. It's doing something at least, you know. I haven't seen that in a minute here. Yeah, it's Salt Lake's close. Like, if you live, yeah, man, you could fly in, drive 30 minutes, and you're skiing. You know, you can ski all day and fly out. Like, if you're looking to, so if you're trying to take a short vacation, you know, you can ski kind of two at the day you arrive and the day you leave. You know, there's 2 extra days of skiing.
Totally. I literally did that last week.
Yeah, I mean, now in Salt Lake, we have our own challenges for sure with people with it getting really busy, and the canyons they limit how, you know, there's just limited space, and the Wasatch really isn't that big.
Yeah.
You know, and people are figuring it out that Salt Lake's awesome, and they're moving here. You know, I always kind of used to say like Salt Lake is what people think Denver is. You know, a city in the mountains.
Yeah.
You know, so it's people are figuring it out. You know.
Yeah.
But that said, like skiing's cool everywhere. Every place has got their own thing going on. There's no reason to just like pick one spot and stay there.
Right.
Yeah, go travel around.
Yeah.
As far as where the best skiing is, like really, it's the Alps.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, it's nothing here.
It's the Alps for sure. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, you want good skiing, go to the Alps. You want skiing down at the ocean, go to Norway or Iceland. You know, and if you want really good skiing with easy access, like Salt Lake's awesome too. You know.
Yeah.
Skiing volcanoes. I love skiing volcanoes in the spring and summer. That's a really cool experience. Everyone should definitely do that. You know, and then yeah, going out like Tahoe or Whistler or somewhere on the coast, like you know, Crystal Mountain with a heavier snowpack where it just sticks to things. Like you can ski steeper things.
Yeah.
And so that's cool too. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting to just see like how, and especially as they get busy, mountain towns get busier and busier and busier, where people start to migrate to. So the joke is always like, just move to Denver. Everybody just move to Denver. Just put everybody in Denver.
Well, that's it too. Like I've taken ski trips to Michigan, Minnesota, you know, back east. Like it's all cool, and everyone's got their own kind of ski. Each place has a different ski culture and different thing going on. So it's all part of it.
For sure. Awesome. Well, Marcus, thank you for the time. Where can people find you on social media? Where can people find you on the internet? And anything you want to plug, feel free.
They can find me on social media at Marcus Caston. I'd prefer they find me in a magazine somewhere. Subscribe to a magazine, or you know, go to your Warren Miller show this fall. That's a good time.
Yeah. I agree. You 100% should find him in a magazine. Do you know this early in the year what magazines you're going to be in for next year?
No. I never know until I go pick them up. And that's the sad thing, you know. That's you used to be able to go to the store and go flip through, and
Yeah.
you know, and now that's even getting harder. So
Yeah, that's always so bizarre to me. I got one of the last, not one of the last, but like the last buyer's guide that Powder put out, and Drew Peterson was on the cover of it, and I like posted it on Instagram, and he DM'd me. He's like, "What the fuck? Like I haven't even seen this yet."
yeah,
Like where?
yeah, you
Like,
never know.
It's insane.
So that's always fun. It's always a nice surprise.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it's it's just a treat at the end of the tunnel. So.
Yeah, or they can go on YouTube and watch Return of the Turn.
Yeah, that for sure. I'm sure everybody and their mother has seen it already, but they should for sure go
Watch again.
Go watch it again. Awesome. Thank you, Marcus. I appreciate the time. And I'll send you everything when this comes out.
Cool. Yeah, thank you. Sorry it took so long.